Hello and welcome to CamLook. Every Tuesday and Thursday, a staff member or a volunteer will be presenting to you an artwork from the museum's permanent collection and pose questions for discussion. My name is Zoe and I'm a docent at the Cincinnati Art Museum. Today I'd like to talk to you about the Shahnameh and therefore have chosen one of the pages which we have got here at the museum. What is the Shahnameh? The Shahnameh, known as the Epic of Kings or Book of Kings, is one of the most important literary masterpieces of the Persian language. It was written 1,000 years ago by the 11th century Persian poet Ferdowsi. It consists of more than 50,000 rhyming couplets telling 62 stories. These stories come in 3 sections, or also called ages. The first section is about the age of creation. The second is about the age of heroes. Here we hear about the legendary kings and mystical heroes. It is filled with moral lessons and how kings and heroes overcome challenges and explore the meaning of life. The third section is the historical age. Here, Ferdowsi tells us about real historical events. The historical part ends with the fall of the Sasanian Empire to the conquest of the Muslim Arabs. The Muslim conquest of Persia started around 633 AD. With Islam taking over the Zoroastrian religion and Arabic being the new ruler's language, the Persian language was facing a competition. Despite the Arabic language becoming the language of religion, government, and science, the Persian language didn't die. It changed and was influenced by the Arabic language and script. Ferdowsi worked over 33 years on this book and tried as much as possible to avoid using foreign loanwords. He even says, "Basiranj burdam darin saul si, ajam zende kardam bedin parsi." I have struggled much these 30 years, but I have revived the Iranian culture with this Persian verse. It is said that with this book, Ferdowsi preserved the Persian language, history, and mythology. He collected the stories which were passed on orally and the ones which were written. He put them all in verse. The rhyme and metrical rhythm helped the audience, whether literate or illiterate, to memorize the poems and thus to pass it on to the next generation. Even today, the stories of the Shahnameh are retold by storytellers in tea houses and theaters. The stories are timeless. The book was first just a book of poems and almost forgotten. Only later on, around 200 years later, in the 13th century, when the Mongols invaded Iran, it got their attention, as they wanted to be educated, and this book gave them all what they needed: the language, the history, and the culture of the Persians. Workshops were created where skillful scribes and artists worked together, writing and illustrating new Shahnameh copies. The artists had a challenge. They had to paint as beautiful as the verses were. This helped the development of the visual art. There was again a big interest in the Shahnameh in the 16th century under the Safavid dynasty and later during the Qajar dynasty, who ruled from 1789 to 1925. The Cincinnati Art Museum has several pages belonging to the Shahnameh from different periods. The one I like to talk about is dated mid-16th century. On this page, we don't see any verses, but it is clear that a king is having a big celebration. The musicians are playing different musical instruments in front of a small pool with a water fountain. Food is being offered in golden dishes, and because there are many trays with pomegranates, one can guess that it is either late summer or fall. Among the guests, the musicians, and above the king, there are a total of 11 angels, indicating that this is a blessed celebration. 2 angels are holding each a duck. Look at the face of the Lord duck, as if it's asking the angel, "What are you going to do with me?" Another angel is holding a golden dish upside down over the king, as if it is pouring the blessings over the king.
The other angel is holding a small child. Is this celebration because the king has now a crown prince? Or is it indicating that the prince has now become king? What is your guess? I'm sure if we had the verses, which most likely were written on the opposite page, we could have easily known what this celebration is all about. What is important is that today, as we look at this page, we are drawn to it in such a way, feeling we are part of this celebration. It is detailed and beautiful, a masterpiece.
Now I would like to end this video with a personal story. I'm originally from Iran, and I remember my youngest aunt telling me that my grandfather had a beautiful handwritten and illustrated Shahnameh. She, as a teenager, was fascinated by this book and had read it many times, and often she could not hold her tears back, and thus some pages literally felt her emotions. Years later, after she was married, she asked my grandmother if she could have that Shahnameh. My grandmother could not locate it. We have no idea what happened to that Shahnameh. Should you ever come across some Shahnameh pages marked with a tear here and there, please smile and remember my aunt, Paris. Thank you.